Who says crafting is a dying art? I'm finding crafters all over the Middle Tennessee area who make unique items that'll be passed down for generations to come. Welcome to HandMade Tennessee. I'm Kimberly Vance, along with my very special guest today, Miss Joyce Slatton. Hi, thank you so much for coming in today.
Good to be here.
Thank you very much. I'll tell you what, this is very exciting, and the room in here smells fantastic with all the stuff that you brought for us today. You're going to be making us, or showing us how to make lye soap.
Homemade lye soap.
Oh, this is going to be so great. I know when I was little, my grandmother would always make lye soap and then put it out. She had a concrete laundry room, and she would put it out there to cool. But as little kids, we were not allowed to go out there and get around it. So I was always afraid of lye soap because I thought, you know, it would do something bad to you or something. But that's not the case at all, is it?
Well, when it's first drying out, when it's first made, it's best for little kids not to be around it because of the lye, because that's a chemical. But you have to have that to make the soap.
How did you first get interested in making lye soap?
I've always wanted to make lye soap from young age, but I was never around anybody that knew how. There was an older gentleman, he's passed on now, and he was in his 70s when he taught me how to make soap.
Wow.
And so from that time on, that's why I've been making soap. And it's one of the crafts that I really like that I've not stopped doing.
And you are no amateur. You dabble in all kinds of crafts, from what I understand.
Well, I do a lot of crafts, but I guess I've stuck with the soap making more than any of it.
I'd say he would be very proud of you if he saw your soap making. I know a lot of folks really, they just love the soap, and it's very useful, very beneficial. And
that's why I like it, because there's a lot of people that has problem skin, and there's certain types that I do that really helps.
Oh, that's wonderful. How long have you been doing it?
This will make 15 years.
15 years. And so this is like anytime somebody says something about Miss Slatton, they say, oh, the soap lady.
They don't know my name. They know me as the soap lady.
The soap lady.
Yep.
So now you're officially the soap lady.
That's right.
All right, well, tell us a little bit about what you've brought today, if you don't mind.
Okay, the old-timey plain lye soap is what this is. And all the ingredients in it is just lard, lye, and water. That's the only thing that makes this soap.
That is wonderful.
And this is what was the very soap in the beginning. I've just added a little bit to it and made more soaps from it. But the basic recipe is lard, lye, and water.
Wow. That is so smooth. It feels so good.
And once you use it, I tell people, you know, I handle it all the time. And they say, you know, your hands would be rough. No, my hands are very soft from it.
Yes, very soft.
But like I said, one of the books, Back to Basics, it has all the crafts that you ever wanted to do. But Back to Basics is what it is, but it has soap making in it. And this is about what my recipe is, and it gives you a lot of good ideas. But it's a good book for anybody that's interested in the old-timey crafts.
Anything.
Yeah.
This looks like an old book. But you say it's probably still in print. So
yeah, it's still in print. There's been, I think, 2 been put out since that one has.
Wow, this is probably very invaluable. Reader's Digest, so we could probably look it up online too as well if we couldn't find a copy. But you said this is where you got your basic lye recipe, and your recipe that you work with now is very top secret.
Well, yeah, I've worked, this makes 15 years that I've been working on it, and so from this I was taught how to do this one, but I thought, you know, there has to be more than just this. And but that's from the basic recipe that I started. And one of the other soaps that I really like, that a lot of people like, is the jewel weed. Now, jewel weed, that is a weed that's growing and blooming right now. It grows where there's moist ground, like a creek or something, and it has little yellow or orange blossoms on it right now. And if you know that weed, you don't have to have my soap. You can just crush the weed, put it on poison oak, poison ivy, helps with the chigger bites or mosquito bites.
You're not supposed to tell that, though. You're supposed to say you have to have my soap.
But I tell people, but what I do is year-round, I keep, the only thing I changed about it, instead of using plain water in this one, I take and, let me find my jewel weed. This is dried jewel weed.
Oh,
this is what it's like. And what I do with it, I make a real strong tea.
So you've actually picked the jewel weed and dried it.
I pick the jewel weed, I dry it, and then I take from this, add water, and put it on, and make a really strong tea with this. So instead of the water base, I use the strong tea for that. And then I will take some of the crushed leaves and put in it. That's why you see some of the speckles in it.
So there is quite an infusion of the jewel weed in that.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah, it's strong enough that it will stop the itching on poison oak and poison ivy, for sure.
Wow, that's something else. Now, didn't you say you have a lot of folks who come to you about that, especially this time of year?
This is what the people want. Mostly when they come, they want the jewel weed. Now, until I started making the jewel weed, this was the soap that I always, and if I run out, I tell people this will still work too. But I think the jewel weed works better. I think it's a stronger and it'll help dry it up faster.
Now, are your soaps just limited to your plain lye and your jewel weed?
No.
Oh.
I think I do about 15 different types.
Wow.
But it's all like the basic. And you can make soap from any type of fat, not just lard. You can, it's shortening of vegetable shortening, or you can use olive oil. There's and another that I use is I think is really good is goat's milk soap. I do that, but there's just so many of them. But most of them, this one right here, I put the essential oil to put the fragrance in it, because there's a lot of people wants a good bath bar that smells good.
Yeah.
Because that one doesn't have any smell really. So, but as far as the fragrance, so the essential oils is what I use in it. But now, lavender, you can grow your own lavender, which I do. And you can take the lavender buds, that's what this is, and you can take I put it in the food processor. I use it a lot on my stuff to chop it up finer. And then, like I said, whenever you get it to the point to put this in at the very last before you pour it, then that's what that's all about. Anyway, you can do the lavender, you can use the lavender essential oil. You can use like rose. Rose is one of the best fragrances.
Now, could you actually take dried rose petals and put them in the food processor?
That's what I do. I save every rose petal, and I dry it, and then I put it in the food processor because it's too big the way it is. But that's what I use, and I use the rose essential oil, but I use the real rose petals in it.
Wow. And you do that at the very end. Okay, why don't you walk us through your process just a little bit? I know that obviously we can't do it in this short amount of time because it is an unbelievable process.
If we started today, really the finished product wouldn't be until tomorrow. Then it has to air dry at least, I want it to dry at least a week. And so it takes pretty good while.
Is that what gives it its hardness?
Yeah.
Okay, the week.
And like I said, but the humidity that we're having right now, that's the hard part. Soap doesn't want to set up when it's humid. So it's hard on that. But if you're in an air-conditioned kitchen, it works fine.
All right.
But now this is like the lard. We start out with this in your kettle. First of all, never use aluminum. That's for sure, because with the lye and aluminum, it doesn't go together. So you can use cast iron, you can use stainless steel, enamelware. Those are things, and always use your wooden spoons, because after a while you can throw those away. But it's just best to use these, because don't try to use aluminum anything, because it won't work. It messes up your batch of soap.
Oh, I'd say so. Does it actually mess with the whole thing? Does it make it not hard and stuff, or just does it add aluminum and stuff to it?
It bubbles up, and it'll eat your pan up too.
Oh goodness! All right.
Because that's pure lye.
Wow.
That's what it is. And that's why it's a chemical. So
now, we were talking a little bit before about how in the original days of making their own soaps and stuff, when it would come the time of the year to kill hogs and stuff, they would render their own lard and things like that. That's something else. That's amazing.
That's what people cooked with, was lard. And you always killed your hogs and you rendered out. And have you ever heard of crackling bread?
Yes.
So that's where the cracklings come from. So that's where you get all that good stuff.
Oh, it is
or
good
used
stuff.
to. Not too many people do it anymore.
Now we just go to the store and get it, right?
Right.
And that's what we're trying to preserve on this show, is showing the ways of doing things.
There's so many people that have forgotten the old ways.
Yes.
And that's what we need to try to remember.
They made it too convenient for us to just run out and get something.
Right.
Which is, I've nothing against that, but it is convenient. But we have lost a lot.
Most of the small children that I talk to and do the demonstrations, you can ask them when you try to start showing them, and you say, "You do know what lard is?" No. they have no idea what lard is. But, you know, and if you say, you know what your mama puts in to make biscuits? No, they don't know what biscuits are either, homemade biscuits. But still,
that's just sad.
but yeah, most of them don't know what it is. But anyway, it's good. That's why I try to keep trying on. I know my husband, that's something he always was trying to teach the old ways.
Yes.
And so, but like I said, there's still some that knows how it's done.
That's good.
But this right here, way you start out, you put your lard or whatever type fat you're going to use in your pan, and then you'll take and put it on the stove or over the fire like the kettle is over here. I've got my small one.
Now that's what you demonstrate with when you do demonstrations, don't
When
you?
I can be outside and do the demonstrations, I will build a fire and melt my grease in that.
I know you set up at the fair every year and do your demonstrations there. Wonderful.
But well, I still have to do it inside, so it's not exactly the old-fashioned way. But when I'm out where I can, I do this. Now I have larger kettles, but they're so heavy.
Oh, yeah.
But that one is too if you've got grease in it. But anyway, you'll melt this down, and then here's your water. This is the water in this.
And you followed the recipe again on this, right? 'Cause I
Yeah,
saw you pour
mine's a
certain
little
amount.
bit different, but it's the basic is what
right.
it is. Now what we're doing here is just the plain lye, so it's to me the simplest. But anyway, you put your water in your pan, and then you'll take your lye. And I'm not going to pour the lye in there because once you pour that in there, it automatically goes up to over 200 degrees by itself.
Wow.
So once you have this hot and this hot, then you've got to let it cool down. And what you'll let it cool down to, now I didn't bring the thermometer today, but all books will tell you to use a thermometer.
Like a candy thermometer or a meat thermometer?
Well, it's different. It was my husband's that he was going to use to make sorghum molasses with, and it was it's all glass, very expensive one. So I use it, and I still use it today, sometimes on my goat's milk soap, because it's totally different. But what you do, you'll let it cool down, and what you will do with the thermometer until you learn how, because the old man that taught me, I watched him, and this is the way he would do. You know, he didn't use, I said, you don't use a thermometer. He said, no. He said, you feel.
Oh,
he
wow.
said, you'll learn. So I learned. So now I don't use the thermometer except on the goat's milk soap. But anyway, you can feel, and you'll get the temperatures between 95 and 98 degrees is what it'll be on your thermometer. And once it gets down there, then it's time to put it together. And you will take this, the lye water, and you will pour it in here, and you'll start stirring very slowly. That's where the stirring comes in. And if all temperatures, humidity, and everything is right, then it'll start getting thicker. But now, don't worry if you're still stirring an hour later. It depends on the humidity. But as you learn to do it, it'll get better. But now, on some of it, it does take longer. But
now, what about a mixer? That would be, could we
and some of the
cheat and
books,
use a mixer?
and some of the books, they tell you to. Yeah, use always stainless steel beaters, though, and stuff like that. I never have because I still do it the old-fashioned
Well,
way.
and, you know, if it's not
Well,
broke, don't fix it.
right.
And your way obviously works.
But yeah, but that'll melt down, and then
Okay.
when you pour it all together, then you've got just liquid. But like I said, as you keep stirring, you're going to see it's going to start. And what they call tracing, you can, when you get it to where you think it's about ready, when it drops and it sort of stays on the top just a second, then you know it's getting ready to put in what you want extra. If you want your
Okay.
essential oil, or
All
if you
right.
want any whatever buds or stuff, then you put it in. And then this, like I said, my fancy mold.
I love your fancy mold.
But most molds, they're fancy, and you have to grease them to make sure that once it sets up like this, it hardens and it comes out. But with this, I use freezer wrap, and I use the slick side up, and that way it pulls right out. And so this is my mold that I can do 24 bars in a batch. So once you'll pour it in there, and then it should set up overnight if everything's right. The next morning, or if you do it that morning, you can cut it out that night. And that's what I'm saying right here, this one here.
And will our recipe also tell us at what, you know, texture perhaps it's okay to slice it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, you can, when it starts getting firm, now if you let it get too hard, it'll crack and crumble.
Okay, yeah.
And
that
so
makes
that's
sense.
why as when you can get, because it gets so hard. See, that's already getting hard, and I just made that yesterday. But if it firms up and stuff, you can't, really hard, you can't get the knife through it.
Oh.
And as you see, I just use a plain butcher knife. I just look at it and just score it, and then I cut it out like that.
So you don't measure and all that stuff?
No, I'm the old-fashioned soap maker, and I tell people whenever I wrap it and I put it out there at the fair, they come in, and some people want a big bar, some people want a small bar. And so I just tell them, whenever, pick out what you want. You know, let them get the one that they want.
That's a good idea.
And so, but that's what it will look like. It'll just, and it's pretty heavy. Yeah. But now that's what it is in the.
And that's the jewel weed soap there, which could be, like you said, the lavender or rose petal or anything that we wanted to put in it, basically.
But like I said, on the plain, lard, lye, and water. That is all that is in that soap that's ever been in that soap for many, many years. But then if you want to change it, like I did, you can put the essential oils, or you can put, let's see, like I said, the rose petals, the lavender buds. I've got so many different ones.
We were also talking about citronella for mosquito prevention somewhat. Now let me ask you something about this right here. I know you said that when you put the lye in the water, it automatically, because of the chemical reaction, gets up to 200 degrees. Is this something that we should do in a well-ventilated area?
Right. Because there is fumes for a few seconds that come off, and if you breathe it, it will get real bad on you. It makes you cough. But it's not good for you to breathe it. And that's why, and it's not, if you had a small child around, that's why never have a small child when you do it, because if that water with the lye in it touches you, it will burn. Oh. It's an acid. And until that soap, and that's what I tell people, they're afraid of the soap because it's acid. But once it's air dried, there's nothing in this that can harm your skin. And that's what a lot of people still don't understand, because years ago when their parents made it, they used it as soon as it was just dry. And I said, that's why it burnt your skin. But I said, once it's air dried, I said, once my soap is wrapped, I promise you there's no burn to it.
Well, see, there you go. That explains probably why I was scared away from my soap. Wow, isn't that something else? So if we were going to do this in our kitchen, we'd just open our windows and maybe a door or something?
But a lot of times I put a fan that blows it. There's nobody there but me, so I mean, it blows it away from me. That's the easiest. Or if you've got a window air conditioner, it'll pull it right out.
Oh, that's a good idea. Very good idea. Oh, that's so neat. Well, I'll tell you what, this is really something else. When you brought this in, we were looking at it, and I said, that looks like lard. You said, it is lard. And so I was very surprised at the amount of ingredients, actually, that go into the lye soap. That's something else. Now, you also grow a lot of your own things that you put in there.
I try to. I think it's better, and you know what you've got then. So.
Know where it came from.
Yeah. But like I said, it's just... to me, it's got simple. Now, it is hard for some people, and they'll call me, and because they say, well, they watch me one time, and they think, well, now I can go home and do this. But it's a little bit harder, and you will have problems that the soap won't set up like this. Don't throw it away. If it's still real soft, put it back in your kettle, put it back on the stove, get to 140 degrees, and redo it again. And most of the time, it'll go back like it's supposed to.
Really?
So don't throw it away.
So all is not lost.
No. There's a way to save it.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. I was thinking, I'm going to go home and make some lye soap tonight.
Well, anybody can do it. It is, but like I say, be very careful. And in all the books, they will tell you to wear rubber gloves, goggles. That's a lot of extra work, but you know, it
for
pays.
Safety.
Yeah, and
especially the first few times, right?
Yeah, because like I said, this is a chemical, and you have to have this, and it's called soapification. And once that process, you have to have this to do the soapification process. But
soapification. Did you just make that word up?
No.
That's a fun word. Soapification.
Yeah, but there's a chemical reaction that makes lard into soap.
Wow. See, I didn't realize all that.
Yeah.
And we were talking, unfortunately, it's become very difficult to find lye.
Yes.
This is 100% lye drain opener.
Yes.
Wow.
It has to say 100% on it, or it's not the real stuff.
It's
It
not
won't
live.
work. And it is. It's getting very hard to get.
Now, what different types of lard do you use? You said we could use several different kinds.
Okay, you can, like the rendered out. What I think makes one of the best soaps that there is bacon grease. And where you cook that bacon and save every bit of your grease. Now that just, I think, has more cleaning power.
Really?
Now, this kind of soap is still known for taking stains out of clothes. Yeah, a lot of people just come in and buy a bar at the fair, just
for stain
stains.
remover.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't realize that. Now, the bacon grease, wouldn't we smell like bacon all the time?
No. once it goes through the lye process, it takes care.
Everything's out.
Yeah.
Okay.
And there's another soap I make that really helps with eczema and psoriasis, different stuff like that, dandruff or dry itchy skin. Is pine tar soap. That's one of the old medicinal soaps that was around many years ago. And pine tar was used for a lot of stuff. So I made my own recipe with that. So you just have to work with it and not put too much in. If you put too much of one thing in, the soap won't set up.
Oh, really?
But,
and does it have an odor? Because I know pine tar.
Pine tar has an odor, and the soap, you can smell pine tar, but once you take a bath in it, it doesn't.
It doesn't. It kinda goes away.
You don't smell like pine tar.
And it does help with a lot of different skin
Yes.
situations.
I have a lot of people that come and get it just for certain skin types.
That's wonderful.
But it
I know
helps.
you were talking about some of the folks that you've known over the years who have who will not use anything
Right.
other than your soaps.
I have people that only use, just like me. I haven't bought store-bought soap in 15 years.
See, we don't really know what's in store-bought soap.
There's a lot that hurts your skin more than helps. But my sinuses, I had allergies so bad with fragrances, and I just started making my own soap. And so that has helped that a whole lot.
Oh, I'd say it would.
does.
It's helped your allergies and different things.
Well, the sinuses is what it is. I mean, but yeah, there's
I
a lot
imagine
to
it keeps it cleaned out, or keeps
Well,
your
there's
passageway.
just something with the store-bought soap that has so many chemicals and so many different ingredients in it that I just decided this was the way. And more people today, believe it or not, are asking for they're vegetarians, and they don't want animal fats in their soap. So I'm having a lot of people that doesn't want the animal fats.
Now, like this, this is animal fat, though, that you're using. So do you then, for those special requests, do
Vegetable
you use
shortening.
vegetable shortening? Well, do you just buy like a vegetable shortening from the store?
A solid.
A solid.
Not the liquid, but the solid.
Okay.
But you can, by learning how to do it, the liquid, but you've got to mix some solid in with it. I mean, it just, I've tried just a plain oil, it won't set up.
It won't. That makes sense. It don't seem like it would because it's already been cooked down and that's all been taken
But
out
you
of
can, like, where you fry hamburgers, I know people look at you, they think, oh no, I said, and they don't realize that soap is made from fat, lard. Some people can't get over that.
Or at least a good soap is made from that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, I think it's a good soap because, like I said, I have a lot of other people that use it year-round too.
So I'd say that when you cook a meal, we're going to see that again later, and something useful.
Possibility. Yes. Possibility. But if you have bacon for breakfast, save every bit of that bacon grease. It's one of the best soaps that there is.
It seems like it would be because it's so nice and and greasy. I guess. But now your soap is not greasy at all.
No, no. It makes your skin, and that's what people don't understand. It will make your skin very soft.
But not greasy.
But like I said, there's no lye. Okay, there's lard, lye, and water in this soap. The lye leaves it totally. So there's nothing in it that can hurt your skin. But it will. It'll make your, and there's your oatmeal soap that I make that I really like the oatmeal soap, and it's very good for your skin. And it will make your skin just as soft.
Isn't that the oatmeal supposed to be a good exfoliant?
Right.
Wow.
It takes care of all of that.
So what do you use for that? Do you just like put oats in at the end?
Pure oatmeal, and I put them in the food processor, chop them finer than what they are because I've tried it and there's too many big flakes in it. But anyway, chop it real fine and put that in. this basic recipe.
Do you grow your own oats?
No.
I'm surprised you grow them.
Yeah, well now, my husband, if he hadn't have passed away, yeah,
You'd be
he
growing
was
oats.
all of this stuff. Yeah, we did most of growing on the farm, everything.
Oh, that is unbelievable. We were talking about some of your berries and your herbs and stuff that you've got going right now, and it's a good year for them. But the animals are also loving everything too.
I've never had trouble with squirrels till this year. But
they must have
they're
had
enjoying them.
a big boom this year. Well, this is so neat. I know you give demonstrations a couple of times a year. Do you go anywhere else other than the Warren County Fair?
There is at Granville, Tennessee, spring and fall festivals. I'm sort of from down in that area, so I go there, try to twice a year, just because it's like going home.
Oh.
And I enjoy doing it. And I see a lot of people that I know, and I've made a lot of new customers that didn't know anything about soap, and so they're using my soap.
Are you also known as the soap lady down there?
Only the soap lady. Nobody knows my name.
We need to get you a T-shirt that says, I'm the soap lady.
Yeah.
We'll do that.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, that is so neat.
I have been asked to do several other fairs, but I just don't find the time.
Well, I know you're extremely busy, and we really appreciate you taking the time out to
Well,
come
I've
today
enjoyed it. I've
and
enjoyed
showing
it.
us this. This is so neat. I do feel like I would potentially be able to make some lye soap, and this is really fun. But now, in the event that I could not or didn't find the time or work or whatever, how can we get in touch with you? Is there a way, or do we just need to catch you at the fair or one of these festivals?
Well, I don't have any new cards made up right now.
Okay.
Just ran out. But anyway, yeah, you can come out the fair.
Okay.
I'll be out there every day,
All right.
and I'll be doing demonstrations.
Okay.
You can have my card, or you can watch. But if you have any troubles, you can get in touch with me, and I'll try to help you out.
Fantastic. Thank you so very
Thank
much
you.
for
I
coming
enjoyed it.
today. Thank you very much. Well, that's our show for today. Thank you very much to our special guest, Miss Joyce Slatton, the Soap Lady. I'm Kimberly Vance, and I hope you've been inspired to create your own handmade Tennessee. If you enjoyed today's show, check us out on Facebook for other shows and information at www.facebook.com/HandmadeTennessee. You can also email us your comments or suggestions to handmadetn@bltv.net.